Morning. Welcome back
to the Soccer Life Mastery
podcast. And today
we have a guest.
Oh my gosh! Thank God.
So
It's been such a long time without any guests.
Was it Scott? Was it in the last one?
No, I think it was Angelo, the guy from Italy.
Ah.
Oh well, he was not here, but was a guest.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, so we have
I'm
my
so
man
excited.
Matt. Introduce
Yay.
yourself. Put him on the spot. Is this your
Yes.
first time doing a podcast?
It is my first time on the pod.
We're getting the nerves out of him. He's going to become
This
experienced.
is good.
But yeah,
I'm pretty excited.
what's your name? Who are you?
So my name's Matt Ward,
Yeah.
24 years old.
Legend.
Grown up around soccer amongst other sports like athletics and cricket as well.
Awesome.
I've got a bachelor's degree in psychology, particularly with counselling,
Awesome.
and then also
cool.
sports science as well.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna,
Look.
this is actually a job interview.
We are here exactly, and we are here pretty much like just to learn. Yeah.
By the end of this, we're going to hire him as a coach, as a sports
Oh my
science.
God, this is amazing.
Nah, who knows? But yeah, so you played a bit of soccer. You grew up playing a bit of soccer.
Yeah,
I
like
think,
basically.
I think I've seen some photos of you with the Cumby
Yeah.
shirt on.
Exactly. So I probably started playing soccer at like the club level at Plimpton Bulldogs.
Yeah.
That was, I reckon, mid-primary school, so quite a long time ago. And then
That's cool.
about year 7 transitioned through to Cumberland and then played there into under 17s.
Yeah.
And then when I got to 17s, having the best time, but I thought maybe pursue athletics a little bit more.
Yeah.
That was kind of where my interest lied at the time. And then, did that for a few years, had a few setbacks.
As in athletics, what sort of stuff do you do?
I was mainly javelin. So
Yeah.
I run speed,
That's cool. Yeah.
So I was doing that. Did a little bit of high jump and triple jump and long jump through there as well, but mainly
Yeah.
javelin. That was the passion.
That was your-
Because you're quite tall, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
like, a little bit.
Taller than us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
We've actually
As you
put him on a
guys know,
lower
like
chair.
we are so like literally short, small. Like I don't know like how I'm gonna say that, but like every time I come to someone, oh you're so tall. I was like, nah, not really.
I think our last episode with Scott, we were
Yeah.
all talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
that was so short.
Yeah,
for us.
yeah. Because shout out to Scott. Hey Scott,
We love you.
I remember like last time I saw, hey, this is Scott. Oh, hey Scott, how you going? Yeah, but now
And now we open up the door and we're like, oh, fuck.
There's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm scared.
But yeah, so how long do you got left of your study? What
So-
you've done?
I've finished now. I've
Oh,
finished
cool.
my degrees.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just taking a bit of time off at the moment to kind of work out what I want to do for like a postgrad study.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards teaching and going into the teaching
That's
side of
pretty
things.
High school, primary school.
Be high school.
Yeah,
I
it has to
want
be high school, right? Because
Yeah.
it's quite specific, right?
Yeah, so I think ideally, if I was to go down that path, I'd do PE and psych teaching
Yeah.
at school. Two of my big interests.
Yeah.
Originally, the plan was to do psychology and go through and do masters and all that for psychology, but just not sure if the passion's there anymore for that. So
Yeah.
deciding to see what teaching's going to be like.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I love it. Yeah, I used to work in plenty of different schools back home as well, like even uni.
Yeah.
And it's so different because like I don't know, like being a coach and being teacher, PA teacher, like you just kind of like learn how to deal with a lot of different stuff, and then having the pleasure of teaching someone, like helping someone, because like sometimes like a PA teacher, we're kind of like a psychologist with the kids as well, because they're not gonna come to like the math teacher and say, hey, I have a problem. Like, yes, that's what we're gonna do now. Like,
Well, with like teaching and coaching, it's all psychology on like
Yeah.
how the kids, how they need to learn, what's their sort of personality, how do I, and even last week we had a kid came up to us who was kind of like, I'm tired, I'm sore, but I really want to pursue these things. I don't know really where my head's at. So dealing with kids, especially on their journey of trying to pursue something like their hormones, they're going through so much where
exactly.
they do need a coach that, it would be good to have a coach that is qualified and understands these things.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool.
Well, a coach is adaptable as well because no kid's the same. You're not going to
No.
talk to Johnny the same way you're going to speak to Pat.
100%.
You've got to kind of read the kid, where they're at with life, their age, all of it, and kind of just be adaptable and mold to them.
because they normally rely on us to come to, even if they do have like some issues like at home or something. And here in Australia, which is quite funny, we don't have that in Brazil, but here we do kind of have like a course that you kind of like have to do to kind of identify if the kid has some issues or not. Like I think it's like a rant,
the
rant
response
test,
to
yeah.
abuse, neglect,
which is quite cool because like back home we just kind of like need to figure it out like without any kind of like learning process. You just go, oh, I think this kid might have an issue. Then you go, no, I'm okay, dude. Just get out.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, normally kids just come to you because the PA teacher, I think it can kind of have like some sort of like how can I say, like a close friendship with the kids, because you're the fun teacher, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to
I love
understand.
the English and math teacher I had.
I know, man.
Not fun.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, no.
No.
All right, let's be honest. Like, come on, it's hard. Nothing against you, math
we love
teacher. We love you. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And then I always wanted to do like pretty much the same thing you did, just to kind of understand the kids a little bit better, or like even like the people around me, how am I supposed to behave? Like, okay, parents is here. And then, okay, what's the best case scenario that I need to talk to the kids or something, or like even to the parent?
In the psychology stuff, what sort of things did you learn? I'm curious. I've never gone to university.
Yeah. So, well, basically, the degree that I did centered around counselling,
Cool.
with touches of focuses on like psych disorders and things like depressions or anxieties, schizophrenias and all that. But the kind of main takeaway, it was like a base kind of broad psych degree that covered the counsellings, that kind of stuff, the even like sleep and like the impact like nutrition and things have on mental well-being and mental health as well. So it was kind of like a base degree which a lot of people use to then either pursue counselling or pursue psychology or go into other places. So it kind of touched on a very broad range of psych and well-being things. But yeah, I'd say counselling's the main thing. We had a fair few counselling only subjects where you'd sit down and you'd counsel your teacher or your classmates, and you'd spend hours just doing that. So,
and by counselling, you mean like sort of certain questions you ask, or how you facilitate a conversation with somebody?
Oh, exactly, yeah. So like, even the things that you don't necessarily say, like body language and eye contact and things, just the way that you can position yourself can encourage talk and speech from the other person without, I don't have to say, talk to me. You know, just the way that you are and having an inviting personality and like even body language just promotes talk. So sometimes it's those things you don't necessarily think about away from the actual language of counselling.
Makes sense. Well, because this is something I want to learn more about. I'm going to ask questions which you may or may not have the answer to. Because like we're dealing with so many different kids going through so many different emotions, whether they get benched one game or they get injured, or whether a club coach doesn't say they're good enough,
or even like a minor disability as well.
So for us asking for advice, what are some things we could do to be more open to kids, or help kids maybe in feeling upset or anything? Do you have any vague advice or anything you could give us?
I think the best thing, like what I touched on before, is just reading the kid. Like some kids thrive off kind of that kind of harsh encouragement that come on, do better. Some kids thrive on a more nurturing, this is what you've got to do, go back and think about this, rather than that kind of yelling, aggressive. It just depends on the kid. I personally didn't mind getting yelled at because I knew that was encouragement. I knew that it kind of fueled me a little bit. But then I also really appreciated when a coach would drag me aside later and say, hey, this is why we do this. This is this. I think the best thing, I'm not a coach, but I think from the kind of counselling perspective is just understanding who you're speaking to is probably the best way to get the most out of your player, but also, that player is also going to impact the team and then the team results as well.
100%, because we always speak about the different types of coaching, and maybe the old school tradition was just like yell at the kid, tell the kid what to do, and you better do it or else.
Oh, we've all had coaches like that.
Yes, 100%. And so we're on more of the side, okay, we're trying to steer away from that, kind of by just, how we feel. We just, from what I think that'll be better. But I haven't done a degree on it, and I don't know that's the right way. But from feeling, I go, okay, well, for me, I wouldn't want, I've been through the situation, I didn't like getting just screamed at, and I felt I've shelled up a bit. I would much prefer a different type of approach.
Of course.
So that's interesting. That's kind of some things you learned through that. Playing wise, so you're at Cumberland.
Yeah.
Which position were you?
I'm a centre mid.
Cool.
Yeah. So back playing soccer now as well. Just still centre mid.
Awesome.
Don't have the engine for it anymore.
But speaking of, I just yesterday just did a futsal game at Marion Rexhead Sunday night. But I went home and just coughing. But during the game, I felt like that I got this taste in my mouth. I'm like, dude, I'm coughing up blood already.
Hold on, I need to say that. See that every time Kyle just come to you and say, "Oh, you feeling tired?" Yeah.
That's the thing.
He came here today he was dying. It seems he just finished the game 10 seconds before he came here. And I was like, hey, mate, that was yesterday.
Dude, last night,
Dude,
man.
look, my arm's so painful. Yeah. I'm telling you. So you can just come to Kyle next time in the training session and say, hey, Kyle, I heard a podcast. Come on, man. You should get fit.
The game was like only 30 minutes.
How was the score? I'm just asking.
We don't talk about the score.
Okay, yeah. Because this is not what that mattered, right? So
actually, shout out Soccer by Design with Kim.
now I cannot mention the results. You just mentioned on the academy too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah,
they
I'm
lost.
drag down other people with me.
They lost.
But I yell at all my kids saying, you know, keep working, push through the pain. But dude, I was like, hey, look, I'm ready to come off. Just take me off.
That just works for the kids.
Yeah. I'm like, doesn't matter, you try, keep working, you push through the pain or whatever. I'm like,
Ain't that how hard you've been hit?
Yeah, I'm cutting out, man. But cool. You mentioned when we were talking. So have you gone through injuries or any experience with dealing with that in terms of going through that mentally or any of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, and I'll happy to share my story. Yeah, of course. So basically, I was pretty lucky throughout my early soccer. So about under 17s, I was pretty lucky going through juniors injury wise. I didn't have too many issues. Mm-hmm. But it kind of, as soon as I went from soccer into that more athletics field, that's when injuries started popping up. Like I broke my ankle throwing javelins, which is a weird thing to do. Yeah.
Did you have to do like any surgery as well because of that?
No, I was lucky. Didn't have to do that. Cool. But then, so like I broke my ankle initially elsewhere, and then it kind of redid it at javelin. So that was another setback.
Right.
Not far down the line, I developed like back pains, which I'd never really had. It's quite common for javelin like throwers, lower back pain, but I didn't really think much of it. I was quite naive about injuries and rehab and things.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, I would have been probably started kicking around 19.
Yeah.
So I'm 24 now, so it's a while back now, but it started kind of slowly progressing in and the pain was getting worse and worse. And I just thought, take a week off, 2 weeks off, not really see a physio, don't get scans or anything like that. And it got to the point after like quite a while of neglecting my back, it turned out that I had stress fractures. So there was 2 little fractures down the bottom, which had progressively got bigger and bigger and eventually, developed into fractures. Which obviously pain was there, but I think it was more the psych. Like I was just really down in the dumps about it. Not like couldn't do anything for a while. I had to spend the whole of last year no running at all. Just I was pretty gloomy about it for quite a while. And on top of that, when that was all happening, a few of my training partners kind of left the squad as well. So it was a bit of a rough time. My whole thing that I prided myself back on then was athletics and sport. So to not be able to do that was, it was a bit disheartening.
Oh, 100%.
But I eventually kind of took a step back and thought, right, this is the time where I do need to look after my body because this is beyond a joke now. Like I actually need to go and get work done, physios, chiros and all that kind of stuff. And definitely a long process, but back playing soccer now and so far.
How long ago was it?
So I reckon I had to stop playing altogether at about February last year, just at the start of pre-season, pre-season games. But then the back issues were happening for about 2 years before that. It took 2 years for me to be smart enough to go and get scans.
This is kind of like an interesting point when you talk about, like, for example, like in a soccer career, for example, when kids just come to you and say, oh, I'm feeling like a little bit of back of pain or something. And I was like, okay, have you seen the doctor?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, I'm all good. Mm-hmm. So what kind of advice or like how can we approach that kid or even the parents sometimes and say, hey, he's complaining and I think you should look after him now because like in 1 year or two, that can literally stop his career, for example.
Like you said, exactly. You started and only the time it got
because like sometimes when we do have like some pain, you kind of like, hey, I want to play. I don't want to stop. I want to play. And then you kind of keep putting that sort of pressure on yourself and say, no, I need to play now because I need it. But you kind of don't see like the big picture. You just see like what's happening right now.
Exactly.
Then they're like, oh, I might not be able to play anymore, never. Well, cool. But then would you rather play for 5 years and not be able to walk?
Yeah.
It's just an example. Or like, would you rather just try now and just be able to walk at least?
Exactly.
But like, it's just quite complicated. How do we approach kids or like parents? Because sometimes you need to go straight to the parents and say, hey, he's complaining to me. Oh, he never complained to me. Yeah, but cool. He's complaining to me. Yeah. And I think as a coach, I'm seeing what we need him, but I would rather have him like for next season.
Of course.
Than now.
I think the biggest thing I could probably say is just listen to your body. And I know that as a kid that might be quite hard because I was in that boat where I didn't listen to my body. I just kind of tried to push through thinking, oh, you know, it's just a bit sore. But
you think you're invincible.
Exactly.
Until you get a proper injury where you think, wow, I can't do anything. I actually can't.
Yeah,
you think you're invincible until you get the first injury.
Exactly.
And we also think it's not about like just being invincible, like with your mates. I want to play with you. Yeah. And then, okay, he might going to take my spot. Or like this kid might going to take my spot if I just quit or if I just say that I'm not feeling good. The coach might going to say, okay, I'll put Kai instead of you.
Well, that's
and then you put like that pressure of like having someone competing with you. Because technically, look, when you play soccer, technically, we play in a group, in a team. Mm-hmm. But technically, for being the first 11 or have the chance, you kind of compete with your mates too. Mm-hmm. And that makes the team even better because you kind of keep pushing yourself all the time. Oh, exactly. And even with the other ones, I need to train even better now because he's doing this. Or maybe the other one's going to say, Ignacio got like a back pain. But it's still training. Oh, I need to push even harder, and then that's also wrong.
And then that can be the
issue. Just keep like going.
Exactly, and it's a cycle.
Yeah.
You kind of you push yourself, you get injured, you come back thinking I've got to prove myself to these coaches. I've got to get my spot back in the team, and then you do it again. Exactly, you do it again, and then it just goes around and around and around, and that's when you can start to lose the love for the game because you can't play, and that's what happened to me with athletics.
This is also right.
I just fell out of love with it, unfortunately, but. Yeah.
No,
because then instead of like a pleasure, it's just like an obligation that you can put in yourself, like under pressure. Even when the coach just comes to you and says, "Hey, just go there, just look after yourself." But then, he's just saying because he's going to be nice. But like,
one thing you slightly mentioned is about your identity was the athletics. It was playing sport. That's kind of how you pride yourself on that. I think so many sportsmen is in the same boat. I think they even did kind of a study of professional players after they retire.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do themselves.
Exactly.
And I was in the same boat, and I was in a really, really, really dark time like we spoke about. But when I came back from Italy due to just endless injuries, I thought my entire life has been dedicated to this one goal of can I play football, and I don't care about anything else. Like you mentioned, I left high school to go to Italy to play football. And I've sacrificed, I didn't go to parties, I didn't hang out with, friends, I went to bed so early, I woke up, trained. Yeah. My whole entire life was this one goal. My whole identity was this one goal, and then you're no longer that.
Yeah.
It's no longer it's no longer reality. You think, what now? What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? Exactly.
And that part of the psychology, I think, is so important. I think it needs more, people need to look at it more. And there needs to be more studies on it, more things that how can we help that. Because I was in a really bad time, and I actually went to counselling and therapy and things like that. And it did help.
Yeah, it did
help. Just talking about it. But for me, nothing helped until I found a different passion.
Yeah.
And I was starting this.
Of course. Sometimes you just need something to just... and it might be hard to see at the time when your world's just kind of been shattered.
Impossible.
Exactly. So, but once you find that thing, who knows what it might be, an underlying interest that you had at school or something that your mate said that you grow into, it's really important to have something backed up like that. Last year, I did a lot of work with the Glenelg Footy Club. So pretty semi-professional athletes. A lot of them came through AFL and all that, and they've had that setback where they don't play AFL, and then they think, what's next?
Yeah.
But chatting to a bunch of them, it's so good to hear that they've all had not backup, but secondary interests and things. Yes. They've all got jobs, they're doing trades, they're doing things to, that they're enjoying, so that if footy does go south, I think they've got things to back up with. And that was me with uni, obviously. I mean, athletics is never going to be a high-paid job or anything like that. But you got to do...
Oh, it's not like that. We say, okay, if you ain't gold, there's nothing, you're not getting much.
You're doing it for fun.
It's it's a one-day paycheck, whatever.
Exactly. So like you said, you got to have something to kind of back yourself up with, and as long as you can kind of, obviously, if sport is your number one priority, like you were doing with soccer, I think it's important to have those, in the back of your mind, conversations with yourself about what you could do as well. So that if something like injury does happen, you've got something to go with, that you don't end up in that kind of dark place.
I think that is actually a very practical thing that to push with the kids. Because I was in the boat of okay, you listen to motivation, it's like burn your bridges and there's only one way you're going to be successful and things like that. And I think that is just so counterproductive. It can be toxic, and I was in the boat of okay, I've got nothing left.
Yeah.
now what am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Like, you know, I've got nothing. I am nothing. And that is a really dark spot. So I think trying to get this out there, say, look, yes, go after your dream, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, when you stop playing that, when you stop training in your session, okay, what else do you want to do when you're not training? Yeah. What else do you enjoy? What else could you be passionate about? And spreading your eggs a little bit, but still going after 100%. Yeah. But just knowing, hey, look, you know, yes, I train and play, but I need some recovery and rest time. And when I am recovering and resting, what do I like to do?
What can I do? Yeah. Let's chip away at something. Yeah. Let's chip away at a uni degree, or chip away at a trade, or get a job, or travel. Do something. Yeah. Just find something you're kind of passionate about, so that if it all unfortunately does come crumbling down, which if you look after your body, you do the right things. Doesn't have to be that way, but just have something to go on with.
Is this something that we should educate like parents instead of the kids as well? Because when we talk like kids with under 14s, for example. Well, all I want to do like is being like a soccer.
100%. If you told me that,
how can we educate the parents and say, hey, you should tell your kid, for example, like do any other sport, like or think about something else. And I mean, for example, when I got my injury, I think the first thing that I remember like properly was having literally like my coach coming to me and say, hey, what do you think me as a coach? And I was like, yeah, I love you, mate. You're awesome. I think you were definitely the best coach I've ever seen, and I like everything you do. And then he was like, well, why don't you become a coach? Because if you have that kind of, if you look to me the way you just said it, why don't you become a coach now?
Actually,
and then I was like, oh, okay, that sounds different. And then I remember like I came there like in one of the sessions, and I couldn't move like my body properly still. And then the ball just came to me. And back then, because nowadays, I think I know what I'm going to do, but then my body doesn't go that much. But like back then, even injury, it was still like with the same rhythm, pace or something. Yeah. And I remember like the ball just coming. They were like, hey, be careful. I was like wearing, what was the name?
Crutches.
Yeah. And then I was wearing... The ball just came in with the right one. I stopped like this and just gave it to the kid. They were like, whoa! And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Let's do that.
Cool. And then it was the very first time that I was like, okay, maybe it would be cool to be someone else's like, oh, I want to be like you. Or like, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me just give it a shot. And then only then I just got myself like thinking, okay, I can be a coach too. I can be a PE teacher. I can do something like that. I can be a personal trainer. I don't know.
100%. We're actually even having a work experience kid out next tomorrow. But I think even this has inspired me to actually. I actually really want to push in our academy coaching. I want to say to a 15, 16-year-old, yeah, you're playing. You can play, but also while you're playing, come help coach these little 4 or 5-year-olds, 6, 7 ifs, and start trying to push that as another passion. Because that helped me. That's what I've done.
Yeah.
You know, I love playing football, but then when you can't play, it's like, what next? Well, help other kids on their journey. So I think we're really going to push this. So if you are a 15, 16-year-old kid, whatever, we're going to try to create some sort of coaching program where we can help you become a coach, even part-time and things like that. I'm very excited actually. This helped inspire me. I think it's super, super necessary.
No, I think either. And even like if they're still playing, if you know how to deal with kids, we are training them like communication skills.
Yeah.
We were training like confidence to come, hey, you did it wrong, let me come here, let me help you out. So we are also doing like leadership. There's so many things that we can do, like with the simple, hey, come here, come on board, just help me out, just have a look. Because like one of the best things that we kind of learn quickly without even knowing that we are learning, when we are doing something that we are putting practice, then you didn't even know how much you learn. But then when you realize that someone comes to you and say, hey, can you do like that training session today? So I want you to follow that curriculum. Yeah, for sure. Hey, guys, come here, open up, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we got communication skills, leadership, we got like plenty of different learners in the same spot.
Even as a player, like teaching another player how to do something, it helps you.
Yeah.
Because you have to think, okay, how can I really explain this activity? Yeah. Okay, what actually involves in this type of skill or this type of movement? And then as a player, okay, that's going to help me on the weekend.
Well, you think about it yourself.
I just thought deeply about it rather than going through the motions or listening to my coach. We're going to do this. This podcast.
Let's do it. Don't forget, this is important.
A coaching pathway and a program where we can help you, have another passion, get involved with kids, build your leadership, which can, once again, help you in your team being a leader. I'm excited, man. That's going to be good.
2 episodes.
2 episodes as in stop this and then do another episode?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Did you hear that? We just say it. We're going to stop that one. So if you still want to hear everything that Matt has to say to us and
Part 2.
way much more, let's stick with the part 2. So I think it'll be really nice. What do you think?
This episode's been about coaching and finding your next passion.
Because I'm pretty excited. So, I think we'll see you guys in the next episode, which is going to be pretty much same setup, same everything. Or maybe not. We'll see you next week. Then we're going to be in like 1 minute. Well, thank you so much again, guys. Thank you so much, man, for that one. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week.
In 1 minute.
In a minute.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Awesome.
We're going to continue this conversation. Well, once again, I'm excited for this coaching program.
Me too.
Finding another passion. Let's go.
Awesome.